I'm going to kind of talk you through in terms of how here at Stanford we teach certain block reactions. We're going to go over the double team, the reach block, the slip block. If time allows, we'll try and get to the fan block. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk with you guys, and hopefully there's a couple things that you guys can learn, can pick out that can be worth your while. Here's my contact information. So my email address, first two initials, half of my last name at stanford.edu, my cell phone number, and then my Twitter handle as well. So feel free if anything kind of strikes your fancy, or if you think anything is a little bit kind of outside the realm of possibility, please feel free to send me an email, shoot me a text, or send me a DM. So when we talk about block reactions, I think from a defensive line standpoint, you have to make sure that you're coaching how the players are going to respond to the blocks that they get from the offensive line in terms of how it fits in with the overall run structure, all right, and how you want to defend each run. So we're fortunate kind of from our standpoint as a 3-4 defense that also mix in some shaded fronts as well. We take the philosophy as, hey, ball matters most, tackle the guy with the ball, but make sure that the down guys are right. All right. And so what I mean by that is we will very rarely talk about gaps. All right. We'll talk about.
Hey, coach, let me pause you real quick. For some reason, it's going in and out. The audio is loud and then soft.
Yeah, I'll just rock on. I'll just make sure I talk closer to the mic here. If that's,
and it sounds great. So I'm going to shut up. You're good now. Cool.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So when we talk about being able to fit runs, all right, it's very little about, okay, hey, specific gaps for each guy. What we talk about is, okay, hey, making sure that we align so as to leverage our help. Okay, where's the secondary rotating to, and make sure that, okay, hey, with that in mind, we're leveraging the offensive formation, whether it's a 1-back set, so it's a 2x2, or a 3x1, or if it's a 2-back set, so they have the potential based on this fullback to create a 2x2, all right, or a 3x1 based on his action, as well as, okay, hey, is it a nub situation? In which case, hey, we can now factor in, all right, the corner as a secondary fitter. And so based on that information, we'll talk about guys being a C area fitter, meaning, hey, if that defensive end is in the B gap, great, I'll fit the C gap. If that defensive end is in the C gap, that's fine, I'll fit the B gap. Or we'll talk about fitting off the nose, meaning, hey, whichever A gap that nose ends up in, I will now play the opposite. I really think that from a front standpoint, all right, it really allows us to kind of be really simple, all right, but also really detailed in terms of how we can teach the guys and how they can best react to the different blocks that they're getting up front. So here are just kind of a couple of examples, all right. So you can see, we can watch the backers adjust off of motion. So we'll now see 20 play off the nose. We'll see 27, all right, play the C area off of number 97. And so as this play runs, we'll see 57 end up in the left A gap, and we'll watch 20 fit the right A gap. And we'll see 27, all right, fit off of 97 and the ball. Because we're saying, okay, hey, ball matters most. There's no point in running all the way out here. The ball is still back here. We can see him both tempo his relationship to the C area, as well as his relationship to the ball carrier. But based on what the defensive line is doing, all right, we are really occupying all 5 guys and letting 20 and 27 really flow to the football. Similar situation here, all right, but now instead of an outside zone, an outside hitting run, we're getting more of an inside hitting run, all right? In addition, the offense is changing our leverage post-snap with the movement of number 86. So we'll see 27 and 20. They'll adjust from C area to now off the nose. And you see 27 go from off the nose to C area. You see 57, defensive left A gap here. So we'll see 20 fit in the defensive right.
Hey, coach, it's going in and out a little bit again.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good there. All right, got you.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I just got to make sure I'm really close to it. And then we'll see 27. All right, fit off of 97 again. 97's in the B gap, and we'll see 27 fit in the C gap with number 10. All right, the outside guy rallying late. That same sort of mindset, all right, is going to play over when we're in our nickel 4-down defense. So we'll see 97, all right, on the chalkboard, he has the A gap. 90 on the chalkboard, he has the B gap. But as 90 gets knocked into the A gap, we'll see 27 make him right, fitting in that B gap. And we'll see 3 here, instead of just blitzing his gap, we'll see him stacking, all right, to make sure that, okay, hey, I'm in a position where I can make 97 right. And so because from a defensive line standpoint, we have the confidence, all right, that the back end guys, all right, the back 8, the back 7, however you want to phrase it, all right, that they are going to make us right. All right, we'll talk about in terms of, hey, we want to come out of our hips, we want to strike with our hands, and our feet, all right, are the last thing to follow. We really want to focus on owning and controlling the offensive line that we're lined up on. All right, understand that, hey, we might end up behind the play, all right, but so long as we are controlling the guy that we're lined up on, the backers are going to be able to have the freedom to be able to move and pursue to the football. So when we're playing a head-up technique, so a 0 nose or a 4 technique lined up on the tackle, all right, we are going to key the breastplate of that offensive line. And so long as, all right, we can see that logo, that means his shoulders are square, we're going to look to own that center, own that tackle, and whichever side we end up on him, whether the left side or the right side, we're really going to look to strike and knock him back. All right, keeping our elbows in, our thumbs up, and our hands jammed up right underneath his armpits. If we're playing a shaded technique, all right, so think a shaded nose, 3 technique lined up outside of the guard, 5 technique lined up outside of the tackle, all right, we're going to we'll use the term the tip of the pad. And what that means is, say, I'm going to stare at the shoulder pad of the offensive lineman that I'm lined up on. And again, that's going to tell me run pass, the type of run, and the direction of the run. And we really think that, hey, if you're a head up technique and you're staring at that breastplate when you're coming out of your hips and striking with your hands, same thing from a shaded standpoint. If you're staring at the tip of that shoulder pad as you come out of your hips looking to strike with your hands, then based on the angle of departure of that shoulder, of that breastplate, you'll be able to in-flight adjust, meaning that, hey, by the time your feet are ready to roll, you'll be in a position where you can react to the play, but also have enough power, all right, to be able to strike and reset the line of scrimmage. So with that in mind, all right, kind of the first block reaction I want to go over, all right, is the double team. All right, so the double team is the front side of any gap scheme run. For a 4 technique, for the 5 technique, it involves the tackle and the tight end. All right, for 3 technique, it involves the guard and the tackle. For a shaded nose, it's going to involve the center and the play side and the play side and the play side guard. All right, the important thing for us to understand is, hey, the guy that you're lined up on, all right, he's going to fire straight out. All right, the tip of his pad, his breastplate, it's going to be completely square, and then you're going to feel that pressure, all right, on your play side hip, on your outside hip. And what we'll tell the guys, hey, when you feel that pressure on the outside hip, you're going to pivot, all right, on your inside foot. You're going to release your inside hand, and you're really going to look to drive with your outside arm into the guy that you're lined up, all right, into that guard, into that center, into that tackle. All right, so we'll take them through a little bit of a progression to make sure that we're drawn. So the first thing is we'll just line them up. We'll say, hey, we want to get out of our stance, hips, hands, feet, and then we'll just give them a drive command. And that tells them, hey, here comes the double team. All right, react. We want to see us pivot on that inside foot, release that inside hand, and really drive, all right, with that outside arm. We want to take the force that's being applied from this other offensive player and deliver it, all right, into our pre-snap key. Some of the main coaching points here is there's a tendency for guys to lean back as opposed to throwing their hip back. So really emphasize to them, hey, we want to be able to throw our hip into the double team as opposed to leaning back into the double team. And when you say pivot, there's a real tendency for guys to treat them like they're in the low post and get to almost 90 degrees. We still want to be in a 45-degree relationship with our feet so that when we drive, we have a good, strong base and we're able to engage our lats when we're driving on the blocker. Do the same thing if we're working from a shaded technique standpoint. All right. Come off, hips, hands, and feet, drive. Want to see them snap. Throw my hip, pivot, release that inside hand, and again, drive the guy that we're lined up on with that outside arm. We'll then now incorporate an indicator. So this means that we're going to make sure we're coming out of our stance, hips, hands, and feet, really trying to not play the drill, strike the guy that we're lined up on. Then when we feel that pressure in our hip, just like we're seeing from 57, pivot, release that inside hand, drive with my outside hand, and then release on the arm over. Excuse me. Same deal from a shaded technique. Come off, strike, pivot, release. The last phase of it will be, okay, hey, we're going to feel the actual body weight, the actual pressure, all right, from an offensive lineman on our hip. So here again, we'll come off, all right, honest and true, not playing the drill, looking to strike the guy that we're lined up on. And when we feel that double team, we'll pivot on my inside foot, release that inside hand, and really look to drive the guy that I'm lined up on. Here's a good example, all right, of, okay, hey, the dangers of being 90 degrees, pivoting too far with my feet, as opposed to still having a stagger, still being in kind of that 45, 60-degree window where we're able to get a lot more power into our man, because we're able to still engage our lats as opposed to being all shoulder, all right, if we're straight across. All right, so here's a couple game examples, and you'll see whether we're playing a head-up technique, all right, or as a shaded technique, that same technique is going to keep on showing up. So here, tackle, tight end, here comes the double, pivot into the double team, drive the tackle with that outside arm. Once that double team comes off, I'm in a position where I can square up and make the play. Same thing from now, same head up technique, but now it's the center and the guard. But again, center post, here comes a double team with the guard, pivot, throw my hip into the double team, drive with that up arm. And hey, so long as those guys are staying on me, I'm just going to stay in my drive. I'm going to stay in this position and just drive the center, knowing that, hey, if that guard never comes off me, all right, that means that the backers, the safety in this case, whoever is that was those extra support players, they're going to be completely clean. So from a 3 technique, so coming off trying to strike the guard, we feel that pressure from the tackle. Give it into the tackle, and this is a great picture here of the drive with the outside arm, of being able to deliver the force from the tackle into the guard, and still being in a position to be able to square up and make the play. Same thing here again, from the 3 technique, striking the guard, here comes the double team from the tackle, pivot, drive on that guard with my outside arm, and once that tackle comes off, I can square up and make the play. Last one here from a 5 technique, and you'll see it's the same thing, whether head up or shaded. Strike the tackle, here comes the tight end, pivot, drive on the tackle, and again, when that tackle comes off to block the backer, we are here ready to make the play. All right, so now, all right, from a reach block, just as double team wise, we'll teach head up and shaded the same way. Same thing from a reach standpoint. So because we are a hips, hands, and feet operation on the reach blocks, whether we're lined up head up or whether we're lined up shaded, all right, we are going to find ourselves behind the play. And so what we'll teach is, hey, instead of trying to run for width, all right, to be able to get back into our gap, okay, we are just trying to look to press and extend the play. We want to be able to drive from our inside foot, press and extend through our outside hand, and really force the tailback to either have to bubble all the way outside, all right, or to cut it back sooner than he wants to. All right, we'll be in a position to still be able to maintain gap integrity, still be able to maintain an edge of the defense without having to run for width to be able to maintain our gap. And so to drill this concept, all right, we'll work a drill that we call reach from the feet. So we'll partner them up. Offensive lineman, he's looking to turn his shoulders and stick his chin, all right, right in the V of the neck, right between the helmet and the shoulder pad. And from a defensive line standpoint, I really think, hey, you're going to want these guys to be lined up on the line so they can really get the feeling of being able to press and drive into that offensive lineman, really reinforcing that, hey, we're still looking to reset line of scrimmage. We're still trying to get that ball to bubble and be in a position to play the cutback. So what we're looking for is, hey, being able to drive off that back foot, press and extend, all right, through that front hand, through that outside hand. And then once we get extension, all right, we want to be able to shuffle and stay square in a position where, again, hey, because of the leverage we have on that tackle, that tailback is either going to have to bubble all the way to the outside, or when he cuts it back, we're going to be there to make the play. The next phase of it is, okay, hey, we'll involve a young, spry coach, all right, as the tailback. And so now we'll incorporate a visual cue. We're still looking to press from that back foot through the outside hand, shuffle, maintaining squareness. And you can see from 97, all right, we're going to be able to have vision on the tailback for whether, hey, if he goes over the top, we can now shed and pursue. Or if he cuts it back, we are going to be in great position for the cutback. Same thing here, press and drive, gaining ground with that up foot, trying to maintain an edge on the defense. Again, through that extension, we can have vision on the tailback. So when he cuts it back, same concept, we'll be able to shed and pursue. All right, so now, all right, the 4 technique on the left. So Washington's going to go through the machinations here. But again, because the feet are the last thing to go, all right, if he's getting a reach block front side, he's going to find himself behind the play. Rather than try and turn and run, he's going to press and extend, all right, because he stays square and shuffles. He's going to ride this tackle out, forcing that ball to bubble. And we can see 3 right here, making number 4 right. So long as he stays square and presses that offensive tackle, he can have confidence that, hey, the back end guys are going to make him right. As long as that ball stays outside, he's going to keep on working flat down the line. And ultimately, all right, he's able to tackle the ball carrier with the butt of the offensive line. Same thing here from the 0 technique. So, hey, feet are the last thing to move. Boom, he's going to find himself behind the play. Press, extend, stay square, shuffle. Well, ultimately, he's not able to make the play. He keeps 20 clean. And again, 20 is going to make him right. Understanding that, hey, boom, behind the play, I work reach from defeated, press off my back foot, through my front side hand, through my play side hand, stay square and shuffle. And I know that 20 is going to make me right. It'll be the same thing from a shaded technique. 50 find himself behind the play. Watch him press off that back foot, through that outside hand, shuffling. It's a fast shed, but the ball declares fast, but he's still working that same reach from defeated technique. And then once that ball declares, he's going to shed and add himself into the play. Same thing as it pertains to the three technique. So boom, right? He's getting off, feet are the last thing to move. 70. He knows exactly where he's going. He's got 91 reached. 91, you can see him press off that back foot and extend through that upfield arm, trying to press and go flat. You'll see him shove. See how the center kind of gives him a little shove. 91 says, that's fine. I'm going to keep on pressing the offensive guard. Because of the extension, because of the leverage I have, I can see the ball carrier. Once he cuts it back, I'm going to shed and add myself into the play. So the last one here, because I think even if it's not like a true kind of stretch type play, this one here, all right, is a pin and pull type of concept. All right, the same technique can have some carryover, all right, based on the offensive scheme. We see 75 pinning number 90. 90 still working that same reach from defeated technique, pressing off that back foot through that upfield arm. Still has vision on the ball carrier because of his extension. And so once the ball declares outside, he now sheds and is able to add himself into the play. All right, so the slip block. So this really only applies, all right, to the shaded techniques. So this is where you're on the back side of a perimeter type run, of an outside zone type of run. All right, and so again, because the feet are the last part to move, it's going to be hard, all right, for us to be able to maintain good hand placement, to really be able to contact the guard that we're lined up on, or the center that we're lined up on, and affect his track. So this is why being able to see the tip of the pad is important, and feel the angle of departure, where hey, this guard is running away from us to cut off that backside line backer. No different for the center as the shaded nose, but because we're not going to be able to catch up to that guard and really put hands on to be able to affect his path, we're going to focus on not getting cut off or cut out by the backside guy, the backside tackle, the backside guard. And so here we're going to work a drill that we call double punch. All right, and that involves, okay, hey, trying to get my inside hand on the center, on the guard, on my pre-snap guy, and be able to punch with my outside arm on whoever is trying to cut me off on the backside, so I can maintain leverage and be able to pursue flat down the line of scrimmage. So to drill this, all right, we'll have a physio ball here simulating the backside guy trying to cut you off, all right, and what we'll tell them is, hey, the guy that you're lined up on, boom, he's already gone. So you're thinking pre-snap already, hey, in-flight adjust. So we want to see them, all right, with their first step, working at an up the field but inside angle, all right, in the direction of the ups. We want to see some type of hand movement that indicates, okay, hey, you're punching that hip of the guy who just left you, be it the center, the guard, or the tackle. And then with your outside arm, you're going to strike the physio ball, simulating, hey, I'm not going to let myself get cut off. I'm going to maintain leverage on the backside and be able to pursue flat down the line of scrimmage. So we can see here, boom. All right, some type of movement with that inside arm. You can see him punch, all right, with the outside arm, making sure that he's maintaining leverage. And then we add this last component as just to be able to kind of get some movement skills in, all right, to be able to work on some pad level, kind of be able to get 3 drills in one, because then we'll end it, all right, with working the cut ball. All right, so from a cut ball standpoint, we'll say, hey, stab and sprawl, meaning stab, all right, knock it in its tracks and be able to push it back. If you want to push it back, you're going to have to lower your hips, and you're going to have to widen your base. All right, so you might give some ground a little bit, but you'll be able to gain ground by cleanly and efficiently, all right, getting yourself off the cut block. This is an aspect of the drill that I think is really helpful, that, in my opinion, should be incorporated more often. All right, but that's just lining up whoever's not in all right, to be the offensive lineman, so he can get a real good feel, all right, for, hey, that angle of departure, boom, that guy's gone, all right? So that means I got to get on my horse and be able to try and punch him, and then boom, stick that backside arm so I don't get cut out. And again, finish it with a stab and sprawl. There is a tendency where, okay, hey, we're working double punch, so they'll do a good job on the double punch component, and then kind of slack off a little bit on the cut component. Stay high, not really knock it all the way back. So again, just being able to make sure that they really finish the drill and understand all the components of it. But I think you'll see when we get to how it shows up on the field, it's something that really helps us on the backs. All right, so 57, boom, 57's gone. He's running to 22 to watch 4. Stick the hand on the hip, and stick the arm so that tackle cannot cut him off, and he's able to pursue flat down the line of scrimmage. See the same thing here with number 19. Again, 73 is gone because the feet are the last thing to move. We're not going to be able to impact his horse. Stick the hand in the hip, stick the backside hand on the tackle, in a position so that you're not going to be cut out. You're going to be able to pursue flat down the line. I think this, when 97 does, I think it's because of his long arms, you get kind of a great feel for, hey, the leverage that it creates when you're able to see the angle of departure from the guard, understand, hey, that tackle is going to be selling out to cut me out. So long as I get that hand on the tackle, he's not going to be able to get to me. I'm going to be in a position to be able to make it. So again, same thing, boom, 73 is gone, punch. That tackle has no shot because I stuck my arm out to gain leverage against him. And now I can pursue or try to pursue to be able to make the play. And then here's an example from 90. Okay, hey, if you got someone who can execute the technique and is a good enough athlete, all right, to be able to run this thing down. All right, so in the last few minutes that I have, I kind of want to take you through the fan block. And that's really, I think, unique to the 4 technique position, where we said, okay, hey, we're going to read the breastplate of their offensive tackle. All right, well, what if that breastplate leaves me? What if he turns his shoulders to block the outside linebacker who's lined up outside of me? We don't want you chasing that guy and really widening that B gap. But once you see those shoulders move, all right, and turn, you want to be able to stick your outside foot in the ground and then drive and be able to play the guard who's coming out to block you. And this way, by understanding the angle of departure, you're going to be able to stick that foot in the ground and be able to press up, block out, and extend on the guard, and really both be able to essentially close off the A gap, and when the ball winds to you, be able to play the B gap. And so when we drill it, this is something that we'll essentially go at like walk-through speed and let everyone get a shot of playing 4 technique, and boom, you can see the tackle kind of hamming it up, but he's really exaggerating that angle. Okay, hey, those shoulders turn, ignore the tackle doesn't exist, stick your outside foot in the ground, you're going to want to get as long as possible, blocking out your inside arm, and driving off this outside foot, so that you can be in a position where, boom, you're knocking that guard back and you're keeping outside arm and leg free, constricting the A gap, and being in great position when the ball winds to your beat. So you'll see 88 on the right, boom, 77 turns his shoulders, and you can see 88 even with a club, just by understanding angle of departure, boom, I'm going to get hands on the guard, I'm going to play the guard, I've got the guard locked out, now I'm in a position to be able to both play the B gap and the A gap. I think especially, all right, when you have savvy veteran guys who kind of understand, okay, hey, there's only so many things that they can run when the back's away from you. And all right, you have a stand-up outside linebacker to your side. So you'll see 34, essentially at the snap, he knows that the fan's coming, all right, because of where the back is and because of where 52 is aligned, all right? They have, so boom, at the snap, he's not even waiting for that tackle. He's snapping right to the guard. And again, you can see here, all right, the extension, the drive that we're looking for, the guard, where boom, that A gap does not exist. The guard's butt is playing the A gap, and we're in great position to be able to play this B gap. Again, same thing here, where if you look at 10 and if you look at where the tailback is, 97 knows, okay, hey, they have to fan. As soon as I see that go, I know exactly how I'm going to play on the guard. Get long, get extension, A gap no longer exists, and I can play that B gap. And then if things get funky, I'm also in position to be able to shed. We'll just ignore the last part. All right. You can imagine though, someone shedding and then running to be able to tackle the quarterback. Here's a much better picture of it where same thing. All right. He knows, hey, backs away. Have to block 21. That means boom. All right. I can play the fan. You can even see him, all right, cheating his alignment, all right, aggressively inside in anticipation of the fan block. If you watch his feet, he's not even kind of honoring the threat of playing that tackle. He's going right in for the guard. And I'd say, hey, he's almost being a little bit too cute because he gets really thick on that guard. You can see how it helps him. Or boom, he knows, all right, I've got extension. It's not getting all the way to my B gap. I can shed, arm over,